This podcast is for the community. I'm about to give you guys game.
Oh man,
we finesse the system a little bit,
not in the.
and we glad.
Okay,
You know, life could have been very different for all of us had we not known you.
Right.
You know,
it's a fact.
so we got Desmond here, and you all might know him from recently viewing his
Accountability
videos.
videos.
Accountability videos, and then also videos that my father actually
What?
texted me and was like, "Yo, is this your friend, Desmond?"
You know.
So they're making their rounds.
Okay.
His videos with
Okay.
saxophone.
Major.
And I'm here to talk about. We talked about it a while ago. I brought it up, just before we started. But me and you were having a nice conversation. We hadn't seen each other in a while, and we were talking about the moves that we made, and you were like, "Yo, man, how you doing with basketball? I know you love that, and you that's always been part of you, your identity and who you are. You still playing? How you keeping that ball close to you?" And before then, I didn't realize how important it was to me. Take it for granted, and I didn't really think about that. And then when you said that, I said, "Wow, this thing is very. I have to have it. It kind of shapes where I move, and when I move to a place, I'm like, all right, where's the nearest basketball court? When I'm driving in a new area, I'm like, oh, okay, there's a basketball court over there. All right.
Sure.
I see a dude bouncing the ball. Yo, I stop. Yo, where y'all hooping at? So it has been very important to me, and it's been a source of mental peace, workout, physical peace, all those things combined. And I think that's because of the passion that I have for it. And I wanted to start this off just by asking you, is the sax your do you have a passion for playing the sax? Would you consider that a passion?
I do, man. I do. And it goes back many, 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 many years, as I'm sure basketball does for many of us, right? That's honestly where I started. That's really what led to a lot of other things, right? And from the earliest times, right, in my life, I understood and I knew then that, I love this.
Right.
I love playing the saxophone.
Really?
Like you said, you go into that space where nothing else matters, right? Regardless of what's going on, whether introspectively, like innerly, right, internally, externally, whatever. I can go play my sax for hours and forget about whatever else going on. Look back at my phone and I'm like, all right, I got how many missed calls?
Right.
Because I'm so locked in and so engaged in what I truly love doing, my passion, right? A lot of people say, when you look in the dictionary, it says it's a strong sense of feeling or a strong passion or feeling for something, right?
Right.
But for me, it's beyond a feeling, right? It's me, right? At the core, true essence of it, it's me. It's my character. It's my integrity. It's what I stand for, right? And when I remove everything else, right? Who am I as a person? What I stand for? My family, my friends. I'm a good human being. Is what you kind of opened up and said, right? But my saxophone speaks to who I am, right? It speaks of when I'm playing, when I'm practicing, when I'm going into that sort of say that environment or creating that environment for what I want to produce. It speaks to me, and what I mean by that is now I'm more aware of my instrument and my relationship to my instrument.
Okay.
But before it was more so I'm playing them because the teacher is saying, hey, this is what you got to practice.
Right.
You got to rehearse, and young, well, okay, cool. That's what it is. What it is.
Yeah.
Whereas now it's not just it is what it is, right? Like my lessons, my rehearsals, it's more of a deeper meaning to it. Right? I'm not just picking it up just to blah 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 blah. No, it's going to be a quality. It's going to be a productivity, and it's a relationship that I share with my instrument to be more intimate with my instrument because it's an extension of me. Right? As one way as I'm an instrument, I'm a tool, I'm a resource.
Right.
That's what my saxophone is. So when I'm playing, it's all serious business. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I'm going to joke around and have fun, but not lose sight of that. When I pick this up, and if I'm being serious about it, it's serious business. So that when the more serious I become with it and having fun with it, what people hear is just a product of the time
the
that I
relationship
spend
with it.
Right. So hopefully that pours out and flows more so easily upon the ears.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely a passion. To get back to initially what you say.
Oh no,
I was about to say that was good though, because you can relate that to human relationships with
Right.
everything that you just said. Paying
100%.
attention to how intimate you are and how much you are, like how serious you treat it.
Right.
Friendships, relationships, all those types of things. And I think it's important that you found something that doesn't have feelings, like an instrument or a basketball, to where you can freely express yourself with said object in order to build that relationship at its core and keep it simple. I just had to throw that in there.
that's
Yeah, I've been in the gym too.
I see.
I've been in the gym too, baby. I've been getting the reps
I
up.
see. That was smooth. I
Yeah,
like
my
that.
fault, my fault. I ain't
like
mean to,
that.
I mean,
Okay. So I want to ask. You said you go into a mode when you're playing, and we can all, if you've done something that you love and you're passionate about, I think everybody can speak to what that is. It's just like,
locked in.
like
Right.
blissful, like
Right.
you know. There's times where I can remember, like, and I will go into times, you know, when I'm speaking again on my passion in basketball, where, you know, I just couldn't miss. Like, the basket was like an ocean.
He feels that way after making one shot, by the way. It's not a rare occurrence. All it takes is one layup and Jimmy is in the zone. God, I just had to interject on that one. Go ahead, man.
Oh, no, but you know, there's some times where it's really like, yo, I just like, and it's almost like, I remember, who was it? Son who played with Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars. He talked about the time he was playing after his pops passed, and he said, yo, I was hooping, and you hear these crazy stories about people playing after their parents passed and all that stuff. He was like, I was hooping, but it wasn't me. Like, I had a great game, but that wasn't me.
Me.
I don't know where I was at. And it's times like that where I'm just playing, and it's like, yo, I'm not doing nothing.
Right.
This is just moving on its own. Like, there is no mental thought here. Like, things are just happening. So when I speak about that zone, I love being there. For a lot of the reasons that you just named and we talked about. Who would you describe yourself as in that moment? Like, who is Desmond while you in that zone?
I must have been one of the ones he
That
that was definitely one of them.
You got me thinking about it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. You good. You
Take
good
my
though.
time with this one. Who is Desmond in those moments when I'm locking in? When I'm locking in, so to speak, I'm tapping into that mode. When I'm getting those goosebumps, when I'm isolating myself from everything. I don't want to say who am I, because for the most part, I'm always me, right? I think it's just I'm discovering another part of myself. I'm diving deeper into who I am and the connection that I have with the music. For the most part, a lot of times when I listen to music, I might listen to it differently from somebody else. So you might hear what the vocalist is doing. You might hear what the drummer's doing, you know, with the bass drum, with the hi-hat. I'm listening to what's going on melodically. I'm listening to what chords is building on between the piano and so it begins to restructure my whole brain in the way that I'm piecing together what's going on musically, just beyond what the vocalist is doing, but what the whole ensemble, what the group is doing, right? The dynamics between each person, what they're creating, right? Because at the end of the day, it's all about creating something, right? And sometimes you have structured creations, right, where you go and you rehearse and you practice, and there's other times where you have improv, right, where you just jam sessions, where you're just vibing off of energy, and you can feel that, and it's radiant and it's vibe. I become more quiet and more silent in the moment, so that I can seek deeper and search deeper to see what's going on. So
When
I
you're
get
playing,
silent.
you get
Right,
okay.
right. Now there are times when I do go into that joyful, that shouting moment, right? Depending on what's being presented in that specific moment. But a lot of times I like to, by nature, I'm just, I'm calm, right? So I like to dive deeper into that because that's really where I find who I am. And that's kind of what really brings the most out of me. And what comes out of me, if my instrument is an extension, it's just going to get directly poured into that, right? And it's going to just be a flow to where I'm not really working. I'm just having fun because it's in me already. So now my instrument's an extension, so now it's flowing.
Would you say that, I know it may be maybe cliche, would you say you become music?
I think you can become, but I think it's something that's already within you. So I think you share. I don't want to say you become. Maybe you grow and evolve more into. Because at the end of the day, we're gonna always change, right, and grow and evolve. If you're operating your purpose and you're seeking better, right, fulfillment. So yes, to answer your question, yes, you can become. I don't want to say become, because I think if you're taking it serious and it's something that it's a passion of yours, I think it's something that you understand and realize that it's a part of you. So I don't want to say like you become it because I think it's already something that you share a relationship with. You know what I'm saying? But in the essence of seeking better and growing and evolving, yes, you can become more than where you may be currently at that moment to become and seek something better.
Got you. What would you consider, we spoke about our passions. What would you consider a passion of yours?
Yeah, man. Tell us.
I mean, I would say it's still more or less like basketball, but not so much playing it. Just what comes from it. And I was actually talking to Bayonne about this too. It's literally what comes from the gathering of the game of basketball. When it's like, all right, we're all going to meet here. It could be people that are just in town that you haven't seen for a while. Really fellowshipping, probably fellowshipping. That's my passion. Bringing people together, sharing updates, being able to see how much a person has grown into either a current role, a role that they're passionate about themselves, or just seeing, a familiar face that you haven't seen in a while. Like, I find a lot of joy and a lot of purpose in creating those moments that bring those people together, but also being engaged in those moments at the same time. So I would call fellowshipping a passion of mine.
I think that some people might be like, hey, I enjoy that too. But was that really a passion?
Okay, I knew you was gonna go that.
And I like that you gave it a name because I believe that it is. I personally believe it is. When you say fellowshipping, I didn't know a term for it, and you said fellowship. I said, wow, that's it. Because we know many people who don't really care to set any of those things up. Like, we was just last night. We was at the reunion. People was like, "Yo, have you spoken to Toby? What's Toby? Toby don't care nothing about nothing. Like he out here, out the way doing what
just do what you got to do, man."
So there are certain people who don't. Just like certain people who don't care about basketball, don't care about playing saxophone. Like there are certain people who don't care about that. So to say that, I think that people should I think that opens up the door for people and understand yo, that's really I think that's a passion. Yeah. I think that's a real thing. Okay.
Oddly enough, that was my first time verbalizing that. Me and Bayonne only have talked about, not only, but we talked about that specifically being something that we both use as a form of therapy, where that is something where we're not going to sit around and just start talking about all the bad things that's happening in our lives, but we kind of get into what we've been going through slowly but surely the more we fellowship amongst each other. And I think you remember that moment in time where we went to LA Fitness last, and we just sat in the gym area, not the gym area, but the entrance area. It was me, you, shout out to Sean, Bayonne. It was maybe last winter. And we were just standing in that little area. You recall that moment in time?
Which LA Fitness?
The one in Deer Park. So I think it was like 2018. It was a minute ago. I didn't realize it was that long ago.
Chilling in the front. I don't remember that.
Okay, but pretty much yeah, just that. And I thought about again a church reference. They would call what you would do after church fellowship. When you get around and you talk about when you're ready to go home.
Right.
You know, ready to go home, and all of a sudden you want to talk to. You know what I mean? They just want to talk and talk and talk and talk, and they would say, "Oh, you know, you can fellowship and stuff downstairs." I'm like, "Wow, fellowship." That's the word like you mentioned, but that was literally my first time like giving it that title.
Learning is like really like I'm really I love to learn. Like I
Right.
love to learn people. I love to learn animals. I love to learn space. I love to like I just and it at times that passion has drove me into not sitting still with something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because I
yeah,
just
yeah.
want to learn it all. So
Yeah.
I jump from
Right.
thing to thing and learn this. All right, now I'm done. I learn this. So, but yeah, you know, learning has really been a passion of mine. Like, you know, I figured out. I remember I was in Mr. Porcellini's class. Shout out to Mr. Porcellini, man. I always hated social studies. Like I didn't see the point of it. You know, it definitely didn't shine a great light on us. It didn't make
Let's
us
talk
feel the best.
right,
You know what I
right.
mean? At least for me. So I didn't really connect to it in a way. And I remember I was in his class, and the way that he was teaching me allowed me to enjoy. Like it became my favorite class to go to, and I was like, "Yo, what is it like? I
Right,
hate
it's
this
about it.
class. What is it about this?" So I learned from that experience that he taught me how I learn. What's the best way for me to learn?
Okay.
For me to retain that information and really, you know, and over the years I've tried to fine tune that and learn more ways about how to retain information and keep those lines clear of understanding. All right, how do I find this word in this time? How do I, you know, pinpoint the exact, you know, location? Where did it start for you? You know, where did the love for the sax start? I know you said it's young.
So I come from a really large family.
Okay.
Right. I have 15 aunts and uncles on my mother's side, and that's just from the same mother and father. And then I have eight brothers, eight aunts and uncles on my father's side. So for the most part, I was always around something.
Yeah.
Whether it was family, whether it was athletics, running up and down the street, racing, whether it was music, it was always something that was going on in my family.
Right.
And for those that don't know, I don't know if you guys might know, a couple of times I posted on my social media, spending time with my family, and I'm playing the sax, and my dad singing, or my mom singing, and they grew up singing. Like my father was in the many groups, sing his butt off. You know, like I mean, sing his butt off.
Oh, yeah?
My mother, she sings. My aunts sing. My uncle played the piano. He was in the group. My uncle, Trump. I mean, they did play the instruments, right? We were just a musical family. My cousins, all of us. So as we all, we go to elementary school, and you just kind of a kid, you just wondering, what do I like, what don't I like? So to me, it was everybody want to play the drums. Play the
That's a
drums.
fact.
I can hit stuff. I mean, it ain't work out, man. I had that audition. She was like, no, we're going to try something else.
Okay.
Yeah.
So on my list, initially I put drums, I put saxophone.
You remember that? Wow.
Going to you try out 3 instruments you put down. Drums
That's a
was my
fact.
first, saxophone was the second, clarinet was the third. Second instrument's up, it's a saxophone. She's like, let's see. Okay, cool. Started playing a few notes. She's like, yeah, I think this is going to be a better fit. So shout out to my elementary school teacher. That's where it all started. And then honestly, man, it took off from there, right? It was natural for me. I'm not gonna lie, it was. It wasn't really something that was forced, so I had to work for. And because I knew it right then and there, it didn't discourage me from resorting away from it. My first year, I got the fundamentals down. And then 5th grade, I went to something called NISMO, which is a New York State School Music Association. And I did that on a level 2. It's like graded all throughout New York, different levels. And normally, when you're starting out, you go level 1. For me, 5th grade, I was level 2. So just I had small signs that I'm doing something good.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and over time, like anything else, things compound, right? So we got to 6th grade, now we're in middle school. I went to level 3, right? So now I'm like, it's only 6 levels. It's all state. So
I'm happy that.
Well on my way.
You know what I'm saying?
Well on
Like,
my way.
oh, yeah, I got this in the bag. But for many of us can speak to, we're student athletes, right? We all understand what it's like to manage our time, to wake up early, to go to school, then to go to practice or to have a game, and then come home and do homework. And then after homework, you're on the game system, or to wake up the next morning and do it all over again. So I realized early, time is going to be something that I'm going to have to be mindful of. So for me, not only was I a student athlete, but I was always managing my time when it came to playing my sax. So bringing that full circle, to go back to your question, my family was very musical. That's when I seen it at the earliest stages, but I was kind of being reminded while I was going through the earlier stages as well because of the level that I was accelerating at. So it was reinforcing that this is something that I love. I'm going to go ahead and continue on this journey of whether it's my passion, whether it's something I like, and I'm going to see where it takes me if I continue to devote my time to it and show up and be present with it. So earliest stages of where I got my inspiration would be because I seen it, whether it was from my family, whether growing up, listening to the oldies from the 70s, the 80s. I didn't really listen to a lot of new stuff because my parents, my family was older.
Right.
The old
Thank you, Dad. They be getting on me about my old taste too, man.
Come on, man. We going way back.
Come on,
We're
man.
not gonna talk about that. That's
Right. The Spinners, you know what I mean? Temptations, Earth, Wind, and Fire. Yeah.
The earliest time, I would say my family, man.
You know, we got some oldies, man. We was raised. I was raised by my grandparents. You know, Des was raised by his parents. And yeah, I used to get a lot of flack for liking old music, like
I still get flack today.
Oh yeah, I do, but you know what I mean. You'd be surprised who might like that shit. You know what I mean? You'd be surprised. You never know.
You know the words?
You know?
I mean everything. I mean it by myself. Like,
right. I got this. I got every but it's something to be said about that. You know, it's and I think to not get too far off topic, but like I think that's where sometimes when we're talking to younger kids and we're trying to explain to them certain things and certain aspects that we've grown to appreciate and understand, we're coming from almost a 2-generation gap with that.
Right.
So my grandparents, they're early 70s, and me being raised by them is giving my mom generation, coming to my generation and trying to teach my like little brother's generation. That's two generational gaps right there. And again, not to get too far off topic, I think that sometimes causes a disconnect when we're trying to explain certain things to the youth, where I grew up, you know, be first, ask questions later. Just like I grew up with old music and stuff like that. So when I try to explain to them significance of the Marvin Gayes, the Charlie Wilsons, the Spinners, and things like that, and that type of culture and that nature where music wasn't edited that much. They would do a little bit of mastering. Like producers really didn't have a lot of work to do back in the day. It was a simple press record, Michael, do your thing, and walk out. That was it. But again, not to go too far off topic, I just wanted to just introduce that connection to the fact of like not only do we share that with the oldies but goodies, but just that there's something to be said about being raised by grandparents and parents who are a little bit younger than said grandparents.
When you develop this love and this passion for this thing, was there ever a time when you walked away from it?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And why was it important for you to get back to it?
That's a good question.
Why was it important for me to get back to it? It's initially how we started with passion, right? I think it's if it's something that you truly love, right, and you're connected to it and you can feel it, it's only for so long that you can spend a certain amount of time away from it before that call. It's almost like a drug. You know what I'm saying? It's you take that drug and you're going about your business. But if you start spending, you overextend that visit.
Yeah.
It's, hey buddy, where you at?
Yeah.
Because I'm right here.
Exactly.
You over here. And surely, sooner or later, you're going to find yourself, either the drug is going to come to you or you're going to go to the drug, but somewhere you're going to meet. And that's how it was for me in my music. A lot of people even ask too, like, same thing. Did you ever feel like you want to do this and you stopped or you wrestled? And a lot of it came from, like I said earlier, the time management. How am I going to do this and do that and make time for music, make time? And it got to the point where it's like, I love music, but right now, my athletics. I want to be, I'm going to the NBA. All right, NBA not working out. I'm going to be getting sponsorships from running track. That's not working out. All right, well, I guess it's just going to work, right? But what happened was when I went to college, you know, we all get, some of us those that go to college, you get the opportunity or you're trying to figure out what do I want to study. I knew I loved my saxophone, but to be honest with you, I did not want to audition. That's the reason, honestly, why I didn't go to school for music. Because I hated auditioning. I hated going and sitting in front of somebody and you got the clipboard and you're just, not because I was scared, to me, it didn't allow me to be free.
I was scared.
Right? It didn't allow me to be free in that moment. It's almost as if I'm constricted to what I'm looking at on this paper. And based on how I present what, you know what I'm saying, through my practice, and depending on how I present this to you, you have the power to pretty much say, yeah, you can go or you can't. So for me, I don't want to say it discouraged me, but it's like I don't have to do this. I can still be a musician without going to school, right? And fast forward, I put that on the back burner, right? Life happens. You're busy, work, still running, this, that, and the third. But that passion, right? Going back to, I'm connected to it. So while whether I'm listening to music and I'm hearing other saxophones, I'm like, man, that person's killing it. They're doing this. I could do that. I could do that. So now I go back to my sax. I'm like, all right, maybe I can't do this. I got to spend some more time. But it was just showing me that I went back to pick it back up. That although I spent some time away from it, it was still something that was calling me to say, I'm still here. And I'm going to always be here when you're ready. I'm not going anywhere because at the end of the day, I'm the one who separated myself from it. The gift is always there. But me being in possession of the gift, I have to go back to that gift. That whoever you believe, whether it's God, whether it's the power above, whether it's whoever, I have a gift that I've been presented and had the opportunity to have. Let me go get my gift, because if I don't get my gift, I'm going to continue to sit where I'm at and just ponder and say, I could do that. I would have been able to do that. I could have been able to do that. I like what they're doing. That's all great, but what are you doing?
Yeah.
What is my contribution to the gift that I have that I can present and share with others, right? So for me, it was just time. I was just like, I love it. Like, I love it. So I got to pick it back up. And it's not to pick it back up to say I have to go to school or I have to go on tour, but just let's just be my place. If I want to go play, I can just play. If I need some healing, some clarity, if I need to get away, or if I don't need to get away, if I just want to go there because I just love it, because I had fun with it. If I want to share it with others, it's there.
It's there.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what it was for me. I stepped away, but I came back to it.
Quick question, because well, did you see possibly when you were younger a way to, like, did you think like, man, this saxophone could make me some money?
Yes and no. Yes, because when I was younger, I would play and I would get money. So I knew, okay, I could definitely monetize off of this. At that time, I didn't know how much, because there weren't too many people around me that were doing it, or that I actually seen, or that was telling me, hey, this is what you can do, and this is the different avenues and directions you can take with this. For me, it was like, I'll play and people are like, oh, you sound pretty good, here you go. So I was like, I guess I'm doing something. Yeah, it's like, cool, like, I guess I'm doing something good, you're gonna give me a little bit of money. But for me, it wasn't the ultimate end of the road, kind of like, this is what I want to do to just specifically make money. It was more of, I have a gift, I love to do it, people love hearing me play, so I'll just play. At the most foundational level, it was like, I love to play, people love to hear me play, I'm just going to present this gift for free.
Okay.
Right? Because at any moment it could be taken away from me,
Right.
I'm charging or not charging. So let me do it for free, see how people respond. If people want to give me money, cool. It wasn't until I got older and I'm like, now I really put some time into this gift.
Right.
right? So when we talk about numbers, we talk about monetization. You're not. I'm not looking at it now from. I'm just up here playing. It's the time that I spent with this over the years that I pour into my craft that you may have not seen.
Yep.
So it's all those years, all the
Right.
sacrifices,
Right.
all the commitment, all
Right.
of that, to where now it's clearer to me that, yeah, then it was something that I might have thought about, or it's like, I'll just do this because such and such asked me and it's cool. But now I really truly understand how I can monetize and how it can make me money. It doesn't always have to be on tour. It can be local things. It's just all a matter of perspective.
Run him his check. That's
Okay.
what he's saying.
Did you ever reach like any time where your somebody tried to take your passion away from you?
Somebody tried to take it away from me.
Like, I'll give you an example. For me, it was, I remember when I got in trouble. I don't know what I did, but I got in trouble. And I had this purple and green basketball when I was a kid. And my father, yeah, I'm calling you out. My dad, my dad took it and he threw it in the garbage.
Damn.
And I was broken. I was broken.
What'd you do? You had to do something.
Later on that night, I went and got it out the garbage.
I mean, hey,
I mean. Okay.
I was torn. So, and then following up with that, I remember times where, people would be like, "All right, you want to play basketball? There's how many people want to play basketball? There's this, there's that. If you want to do this, that's cool. But what's the plan B?"
right.
And then my dad would say, like, what if you break your leg? What if you this happened? What if that happened? And so did anybody ever try to take that away from you?
To be honest with you, man, no. I can honestly say no. Outside of myself, I was probably my biggest opponent. I removed myself from whether opportunities or putting my music on a back burner or leaving, coming back. I was the people. I was every obstacle, every barrier, anything you can name. It was me.
Yeah.
Kind of hinting at what you said when you kind of talk in regards to the group or how many people want to do this. For me, it was more so going back to band. When I played it with the band, you would rent the instrument from the school. So if I didn't have an instrument that we bought or I was renting on my own at the house, that means if they weren't for whatever reason allowing us to take the instrument home, when band class is over with, the instrument stays there and you go home. Which means when I go home, I can no longer practice or pour into my craft because I don't have the instrument with me. So actually happened to me a couple of times until my mom was like, okay, I see that you love this, so we're gonna have to go and actually buy you a saxophone so that when you come home, the instrument that stays at school, that's fine because you have one here. You can play as long as you want. You can play whatever you want, and it's here. So outside of myself, I would say,
to your moms, man.
shout out to my mom, man.
Holding it down.
Nah, for real,
That's big time.
she held it down for real, for real. My pops did too, but no, she held it down. But outside of myself, going back to the earliest stage I can remember would probably be that connection with the school, with having to rent it just for whenever band was happening, and then at the end of the day, give it back, go home, and that'll be it. So outside of those two other things, nah, man, I've been blessed. I think people understand too, who I am, and what I stand for. So I don't think a lot of people outside of knowing me, I don't think intentionally they would have come from me. For those that didn't know me, they never tried or there were no issues for me really, other than accept myself. So yeah, man.
Gotcha. You ever dealt with Anybody trying to take your passion away?
Oh yeah, plenty of times.
I knew that.
Yeah, plenty of times, man. Whether it's people who just don't see the vision, whether it's punishment, like you mentioned, for God knows whatever might have happened in 27 Pine Road, Amityville, New York, man. No telling.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a few times where it was injuries, so that was me. It was a lot of self-doubt that took away from it too. There was times where I would actually be intimidated. Very few times. But I was intimidated, and I didn't try out for my middle school basketball team in North Carolina because of that. And it was something that I wasn't necessarily ashamed of right away. It was just more like I was telling myself, okay, we'll do it next year. We'll do it next year. But then by that point, my grandmother didn't really see the point in paying for AAU or paying for training or anything like that, and can't really blame her for that. But at the same time, like, I just didn't feel like anyone believed that I could actually be something. I had some height, and I had bounce. I mean, contrary to what people may believe, I had bounce.
Did you have bounce? Or
No. I had bounce. I had bounce.
Was that when he got the?
I had bounce. I'm gonna clip this and I'm gonna put this on Instagram. I'm gonna need everyone who's seen me jump out the gym, pull up
about it.
All right. But yeah, no. I've had a couple of instances. A lot of them were self-imposed, where my passion was pretty much halted by my own insecurities, and that's something that, as an adult, I do now try not to dwell on. But there were times where it's like you can't help but dwell on, like, damn, what if I would have took that? I had one college basketball offer, one, without playing a single lick of high school basketball. I had one, and I turned it down. And I turned it down because I had this unrealistic idea that all I got to do is have a tryout somewhere, and these big scouts would just give me a scholarship to somewhere else. And obviously, I didn't go, and I didn't play. So a lot of mine was robbed by myself. A lot of thinking and trying to make sense of rationalizing with just not doing it. Just what would happen if we go out there? Would we be embarrassed? And this was before, you was getting recorded. Now you're getting recorded every time you step into the gym. So it wasn't even like it would have gotten like around, like, oh, he's trash. Oh, you seen him the other day? He's trash. But something inside of me was just like too afraid of the moment that might happen, that got in the way of my passion for the most part. And to go to my current passion, which is fellowship, maybe up to maybe like 3 years ago, I was still very shy around new people. I was very like, oh, what's going on, man? It's good. And just kind of like in the back.
Right.
So that was another self-imposed hindrance to my passion. But just doing more podcasting and just talking to people and just being vulnerable, that's helped out a lot with stepping into my passion and understanding what it is that I excel in, that I also enjoy. And to a point, I think it's important that you have passions with an S, and some of those passions aren't revenue generating.
Right.
You do it solely for the love of it, because we, like you said, like, now you understand that you're this good, you've been doing it for this long. I might not be able to give you the homie discount. Right. Like you might have to pay like what I'm worth. Right. But then there's things where, let's say, chess, or I don't know, painting or cooking to an extent. Like, Jimmy likes to cook. Right. Jimmy really likes to cook. He enjoys it. No, but what I'm getting at is that there's certain things that don't need to be monetized, and that you need to keep solely for you. Right. Solely for you, and it's important because it goes back to being a kid. You wasn't getting paid for a lot of things that you did, but you loved them. Right. You cared about them. If you couldn't do some of them, it was like the worst day of your life. Had he not got that basketball at the trash, who knows where Jimmy might be right now? Who knows where he might have been right now? But yeah, so I would say a lot of it being taken away from me was my own doing.
Actually, I do have to double back.
Right.
And this is fairly recent too. When we talk about somebody trying to take something away from you, I may have talked to you. Actually, I did talk. I talked to us dad about it, and y'all know I'm in the DMV now, and I'll be practicing. I don't practice at a studio.
Oh
I don't
yes,
rehearse,
yes.
At the house, the walls are extremely thin, and probably I'm not doing a little bit. It's a Sunday night, we creep into like 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, but I'm locked in.
Right.
I
You're
thinking
in the
about what
zone. You're in
time
the
it
zone.
is.
Yeah,
I'm playing my
exactly.
sax. Got the music going. Like my house is thumping. I'm
Right.
locked in. And so I get a knock on my door. But mind you, I don't hear it.
Yeah, you locked
I'm
in.
locked in.
Right,
Music is thumping.
right.
I'm just at it. The person must have been out there for probably 10, 15 minutes. The only reason I knew was because my girl called me. It's like, yeah, somebody's outside. Like, oh yeah, really? I don't hear anything. She's like, yeah, I'm looking at the camera right
Yeah.
now, and like they're pacing back and forth. And I'm like, okay. So she's like, you might have to go down there. I'm like, for what? So long story short, whatever. So I put my sax down.
Right.
I go downstairs. Nobody's there. So I call back. Hey, nobody's here. She's like, well, they was just there. I said, look, they're not there right now. So
Right.
It's over.
it's
So we're
over.
good.
But pretty much that was the way to say you're making too much noise. Had I opened the door, the conversation probably would have been, you're making
Yeah.
too much noise. I'm trying to sleep. Can you stop playing? Whereas, and it may not be with ill intent to say like you're sounding bad or this and the third. It's just for me to take me out of my
Right.
true essence of what I'm doing and say stop
Right.
because you're making too much noise.
Yeah.
I don't care if you sound good or you don't sound good. I need for you to stop.
Yeah.
And there's been other times like that too.
That's a dub.
But
I ain't stopping.
yeah.
Can't stop, won't
No, I
stop.
was
Bad.
talking after 10, 15 more minutes. Until I finished what I was doing.
Exactly.
And then I called it the night.
Okay.
Okay, good.
So that was cool.
Oh yeah. Speaking on, I think that it's. You talked about being your own biggest enemy. Alex talked about being his own biggest enemy, and I obviously, I can relate to that. I don't live with regrets because I'm really happy with my life and how it's turned out and where I'm at right now. If there was one thing that I could say that I do regret, is deciding not to play college basketball. And I did it. I remember speaking to Didi, man. Shout out to Blizz.
Shout out, please.
I was, after the season was done, my coaches pulled me in the office, and then they were like, we got these few schools looking at you. What do you want to do? And I'm like, I'm done. I'm not playing. And it was because I was so frustrated. Kopech had a reputation of making the playoffs and being, we weren't always the best team. We were competitive every year.
Yeah.
And at least made the playoffs. And we missed the playoffs like the first time in like 11 years or something like that, my senior year. And it was a mess that season. So I was turned off by the whole basketball. Like I remember I'm like, yo, I'm done. I'm not playing basketball. I didn't touch, walk, speak nothing about basketball for months. And, I said that to my coaches, and I remember talking to Didi about it, and he's like, yo, why would you do that? He was like, that season, like, it's going to be totally different when you get to college. Like, you were different. Like, it's that, what you went through here has no effect on what is going to be at the next level. And, he was one of those people in my corner saying that. And I think that, not to get too off topic, there has been, me and Chris were talking about, how important it is to have a village and have people in your corner. And I remember telling my uncle this story because he had a similar situation where he was really good at football, his dad wasn't around, so his dad he didn't really have anybody in his corner to say, yo, take this and do this, package it this way, do this, make sure that you stay consistent with this. And so, he didn't really pursue it to the next level. And me and my dad had a kind of messed up relationship around basketball, because he would say certain things to me, and because that wasn't his sport that he knew and he grew up with, I don't think he felt confident in telling me certain things as opposed. I'm combative. Like, I'm not gonna let you just tell me what to do. You gotta outline it properly for me. And if he doesn't have the terminology and the understanding as to why, he just thinks like, yo, I believe this is the way to go, I don't think that he felt confident in speaking about it. And we've had times where he wouldn't come to my games based off what I did. I remember one time I screamed on him on the sideline, like he said something to me, and I'm like, yo, stop talking to me right now, something along that effect or whatever. And he got really upset about that. He said, I'm not coming to your games no more. I'm not doing that. And he didn't come to my games for like years. So but to get back on topic, that was really a pivotal moment for me, because again, whether I left it for months, 6 months, if I left it for a year, basketball season rolls around and you're looking at the NBA, you're looking at, and I don't watch every game usually. I used to watch a lot of games, a lot of basketball. It would just take one game
to get
me. Like, I'm just looking like, oh, I just like that move. Like, I gotta go out there and practice that. And where do you see this passion taking you? After all you've been through with this passion, where do you see it taking you in the next 5 years?
Next 5 years. So right now, what's going on? I'm in a building stage, so to speak. Kind of going back as we kind of bring everything full circle from many years ago, right? Not really understanding what was going on, just playing with no intentionality, just picking up just because I loved it. Now to really be able to look at it for what it is, the relationship that I have with it, where I know the passion can take me, spending time rehearsing, like I said, branding. It's a lot of things that I'm about to start doing with some branding stuff. I'm about to start gigging more. You guys are going to see me actually out playing, not just in my house, right? We're going to get a little bit more active.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So that's just some things we're going to be doing. But kind of what we said before, like, it's not really, I'm not looking to make millions off the right. It's not going to be something I'm like, I need to monetize, right? And kind of what Nipsey said, right? The highest human act you can do is to inspire, right? So for me, and my purpose of what I'm here is to show somebody, anybody, that whether you have an instrument or not, whether it's a saxophone or not, that you can spend time away from something. That doesn't mean that that's it. You can go back to it and pick up right where you left off. But if you're serious about it while having fun, and you want to take what you know and what you're willing to learn, and you package that all together, you have enough fulfillment that you need to serve in your purpose. And that's enough for you. That's enough for somebody else that can just look at that and say, just because of that one thing or those few things, I'm inspired. Not that I'm motivated, because with motivation is more of an external, right? It becomes with once I achieve that goal, what happens after that? Normally things begin to dissipate. But when you have inspiration, it's something more that's internally, right? Because it's more of an emotional, more of a feeling. It's something that moves you differently than when you're just motivated. So for me, from where I stand right now, 5 years, it's to continue, one, to grow in self, right, my person. 2, to grow with my music, because the more I spend on time with myself, the more I'm going to want to spend with that extension of me, right, that connection with my sax. Brandon, playing more, learning more, right, evolving more, growing more, and just pouring more into people. As you said, we have more than one passion. For me, it's also helping people, holding people accountable, right? To understand that you have people here to help you. I'm going to meet you where you're at. I'm not going to expect more. I'm not going to expect less. But if you're willing to show up and you're willing to be committed, I'll meet you right where you're at
Got
and
you.
hold you accountable.
Yep.
So for myself with the saxophone, it's just that hold myself accountable to not put any more on myself than I can bear, but to also understand that I'm willing to learn, I'm willing to sacrifice, I'm willing to commit myself, I'm willing to grow and continue to evolve, right? And grow more to what I call this extension, this passion of mine of what I love.
We talked about Nayo, open that up. What does a music workshop look like?
Boy.
Does that sound like something that you get excited when I say that? What's
Man,
that?
it's funny that you say that because I was actually just thinking about that. You know, like especially shout out to Justin and Ronnie and
Those
Sam
guys.
Rice
Shouts out to
and
my
Dave
guys,
Ruffin.
man.
Shout
Yes,
out to them. What you guys
yes.
are doing are amazing, and it's definitely needed in the community to bring back things that which we grew up on, that kept all of us together and kept our minds and our bodies away from trouble. Right. And I'm happy you said that, bro, because even in my own journey, I'm looking at what is it that, although I'm miles away, how can I still show up and be of those individuals, all those children,
Inspire.
or older individuals who may want to do something or who have a connection to music? Because for me growing up, there weren't too many people that played instruments. Everybody wanted to be a rapper or a singer or even play the piano. I don't really know too many horn players. So even for myself, I wish it was more people that played trumpet or played saxophone that I could have built something with. So now it's going back into those younger individuals who might say, I want to play sax, but I don't want to be the only one. I don't want to be by myself. I want a community. I want a fellowship. I want more individuals like-minded who I can grow with together. You know what I'm saying? So even for myself, it's a matter of going to even just or people that are at your names, be like, although I'm miles away, what can we do virtually? Right? Or
This that age.
When I'm here,
that's a fact.
What can I do while I'm here? Who's going to the school saying, hey, you guys, who's in the community? I mean, who's at these schools? Or not even one step further. A lot of the individuals, I probably know a lot of the parents. Because I'm playing, I'm in the community myself. Does your child play an instrument? And that doesn't have to be saxophone. Do they play an instrument or do they have a desire or want to play? This is where we're going to be. School finishes, extracurricular activities, when they want more learning or something different, because we know when you go to school, it's part of a curriculum. Right? So they only teach us certain things. But I know that you can make a career and you can have fun outside of that curriculum that may cater more to you.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Because as we said, like you said, with social studies, right? He taught it to you in a way that you liked it, but you at first didn't have a connection to it because you didn't really care, because it was nothing that you could really connect to.
Correct.
Right? So now you connect with something that's outside of the curriculum. That's that.